Welcome to Keeping It Real with Lefty. We have a very special guest with us today. Hip hop artist Soulja P will be joining us to talk about the new album, Boot Camp, and what he got going on. Thank you for coming, everyone. Thank you for coming. I am going to drop the curtain and introduce you to Mr. Pleasure P. How are we doing, man? No, not
Ye-
Pleasure P. Soldier P. You,
Hey, what it is, big dog? Hey, I really appreciate you having me, man. For real, bro.
I appreciate you taking the time to come join me over here at Keeping It Real with Lefty. Um, we do celebrity news, YouTube news, food reviews, and exclusive interviews. And it's an honor to have you. As you can see, I don't know if you can see, but we have your album cover on the screen as we're talking to you. Um, but man, it's been a journey, hasn't it?
Yeah, man, it's been a journey, bro. You for real about that, bro. Hey, it's been a long time coming. Been grinding, bro. Really excited for the album. Everything coming up in the next year. It's gonna be crazy, man. Definitely.
Okay. So before we get into the album, let's get into a little bit about you, kind of where you come from. Um, what got you into music?
For real. So, it starts way back. I was like a young child when I got into music. My dad was a singer. Yeah, he actually still sings to this day. And he got me singing when I was real young. We would just, sing old stuff. He'd bring me to like karaoke. He'd get me into voice lessons, just kind of getting me into music. And I started playing the drums, just started picking up on the music. So I mean, really, at the end of the day, my musical background is purely like music, like real like music theory. Really learning about it in school and everything. I got in the band, you know what I mean? I was playing the drums, so just percussion was my thing. But eventually, I was just a street dude. At the end of the day, I was in the streets. I got into rap, you know what I mean? I kind of took all my musical energy and put it into rap, hip hop, singing, you know what I mean? Trying to incorporate some melodies into my rap because that's kind of my beginnings. And I'm actually really trying to just grind, get in the street, saying, do everything I had to do for the rap scene. So it just kind of transformed from that musical background to getting in the street and, doing the rap scene and just, hitting it hard. You feel me? Just, it was really my background, where I came from, my surroundings. It all kind of influenced me. And of course, a lot of other music that I listened to growing up as well.
Okay. Where is it that you come from?
I come from Clearwater, Florida, right in the High Point area. So yeah,
Clearwater.
man.
That's where the Phillies do their spring season training.
Yes,
I'm
sir.
from
That's right.
Philadelphia,
Yes,
so
sir. Hey, you already know. Yes, sir. So, yeah. Hey, man, shout out to Clearwater. You already know what it is.
um, growing up in Clearwater, um, what give me three of the biggest lessons in life that you learned growing up in Clearwater, Florida.
Number one thing I would say is the police aren't your friend. You know what I mean? At the end of the
Definitely agree
day,
to
at the end of the day, it could definitely go, sideways if you're on the wrong side of the road, you know what I mean? So,
that.
what I'm
Absolutely.
saying, keep yourself out of trouble, you feel me? Um, I would say, number two, definitely remember your background, remember where you came from. I feel like, I learned a lot from my city. I learned a lot from growing up in this area, from the good side and the bad side of the road. Like I was saying, being on the right side of the road. And I just feel like at the end of the day, you know what I mean? Being in Florida was definitely a blessing growing up because I love Florida. You feel me? And it's just such a, multicultural place. You get such a dip into every different ethnicity and just really just what I'm saying, being being intertwined into every different scene. It really actually helped me a lot growing up just as my music and just creating who I am just because I was exposed to so much different vibes and just really just being able to embrace that. You feel me? That's one thing I'll say about Florida.
Yeah. And then the wonderful food that they have down there. You
Oh
have just
man,
a
cannot go
melting pot
wrong.
of different food.
You already
Cuban
know that.
food, African food, um, Puerto Rican food, Jamaican food. It's like it's just all down there. It's like I'm out here in Arizona where it's majority Mexican food, Mexican rule out here.
Which
So,
is probably
um,
good. You probably get the
yeah,
good stuff over there, huh?
yeah, you get the authentic Mexican food, but you don't get to share, you don't get to embrace other cultures. It's starting now because more people are moving here, but for the last 10 years, I don't know where I would go to get a Cuban sandwich,
Right?
and
And you might
you
have to
know,
just, get your own recipe, huh? That's how probably how you
yeah,
be
yeah,
doing it.
and now y'all got Wawa down there, you know what I
For
mean? So
real.
like,
Hey.
it's crazy, it's crazy. But getting back to the music side of things, um, Clearwater. I don't know Clearwater to be a musical town, right?
Right.
You can correct me if I'm wrong on that. Where would you pull inspiration from, being as though that as a young child rapping in Clearwater, were you moving around to like Fort Lauderdale, Miami to kind of spread your wings and spread the music that you were creating?
For real, for real. So no, you're definitely right about that. Tampa has a really nice music scene, which is like, basically connected right there. It's right over the bridge, you feel me? My inspiration originally definitely came from Tupac, Twista, Bone Thugs, Eminem. Those were my four biggest inspirations musically. And I definitely got a lot of inspiration musically from a lot of other artists growing up listening to music. And then, of course, like I said, as I started getting into music myself, I was spreading into the Tampa scene, Miami, Atlanta. I was really starting to just move around, move into where the music scene was, which in this area is definitely more so Tampa. But we also had a pretty big, like when I was, starting to get into the scene, we had a pretty big local scene going on here. So that did help me a lot. I met a lot of people through the streets that were in the scene. And, I learned a lot, early on in that type of way because, there was pretty nice little scene going on. I definitely got to give a shout out to Pinellas County, doing their thing over the years.
Oh, wow, wow. And then somewhere along the journey, you meet Lil Zane, as we know as Zane, which I have to say
Exactly.
he was one of my favorite artists growing up. I actually got a chance to meet him when he had came to
Nice.
Philadelphia. He was at he had just dropped Young World the Future. It was 2000. I was working. I
Nice.
was about 16. I was working at a place called Philly Rock, and I'm gonna tell you a distinct story. And when you talk to him, he probably gonna remember this story like that. That's crazy because it's what 20 something years ago, right? So
Right.
he comes into the store and he comes in there and it's this waitress, short joint, Caucasian lady, beautiful, beautiful lady, because where that's at in Philly is downtown. So they got to keep the beautiful women in there. It was like around like it was. I think it was a Saturday, if I can remember. But he had a truck that was wrapped. At that time, that's when they were big on the wrapped trucks. And he came into the store and he asked me, he's like, "Yo, uh, does she talk to black people?" I was like, I don't know. I mean, I ain't never tried to holler at her, but you can go ahead and do your thing. You know what I mean? So, and at that time, he had just dropped a single with 112, and he was on a promotional tour. And then it's funny because it's like 10, 20, 10, 15 years later, I got a chance to interview him. I actually lost that interview because that YouTube channel got shut down, but I actually did get a chance to interview him. But that was
Nice.
crazy how, what I mean? It's all it's a time. Like, I meet him when I was 16, interview him, and now I'm interviewing the artist that he's working with. It's crazy. It's crazy.
Comes full
So how do you
circle, man.
full circle? So how do
Hey.
you guys get a chance? How do you guys meet?
So yeah, speaking of being in the streets, I was making massive connections, just grinding, you know what I'm saying? As a street dude, I was meeting people in the music industry because the hip hop industry is very street. So that really helped me a lot, you feel me? So I was
Mhm.
meeting a lot of people. I was in the scene, just starting to really spread my wings, as you were saying, you know what I'm saying? Actually, I had at the time another record deal on the table and it was taking a different route, right? It was going more towards the pop scene. And I made one track. It was like a paid track that I did for them, and they
Yeah.
offered me a deal. and I was considering it, but it wasn't me. It wasn't my music. It wasn't my style. It wasn't, where I wanted to go. I was in the streets. That was like, the opposite of the streets. You feel me? So I was like, not really loving it. So I was considering it at the time. And one of my homeboys called me and told me, Lil Zane, come to the studio, what I'm saying, come do a feature, right? So I was like, I was busy, bro. Like, to be honest, when these things come up, it doesn't always happen at the exact right time, right? I was super
Yeah,
busy, but I dropped everything. I went straight to the studio. I was like, yo, let me get that feature. I paid for the feature. We did it. You know what I'm saying? We was in the studio for like 5 hours just vibing. It was real cool, like giving off a real dope vibe. I really, love the energy. You feel me? So I had rolled out and I picked up my homeboy and, he was a photographer, right? You know what I'm saying? He had his camera and everything. And I was like, before I wrap up, I'm gonna come back and we can do a video because I want to make sure it's official. Everybody knows I was really with Lil Zane. I'm not
yeah,
just dropping some track, right? So I came back and it was at that moment I feel like when Zane started to take interest because I got on the video and just dropped a rap, just dropped a freestyle off the top with Zane standing right there. I shouted him out and it was just killed it, bro. Like right there on the spot, you feel me? And just a lot
yeah,
of confidence, a lot of swag, just having fun with it, you know what I'm saying? And we just, I got his manager's number, right? His manager had asked me for my number. I got his number. And we had started communicating after that. It wasn't like, yo, I want to sign you. It was just like communicating about the track, about what we're going to do with it, as far as paperwork and everything like that. But it started to evolve and we started to build a relationship, got in the studio a few more times, dropped a few more tracks. And, that's what led up to him signing me. What a blessing, you feel me? And like I was saying, and a shout out to young artists and, just some advice to them, when your opportunity comes, I know that you're probably busy, you got a lot going on, but you got to go for that. You know what I mean? You got to
yeah,
drop what you got to drop and you got to take your opportunity. You know what I'm saying?
yeah, absolutely. And to be around somebody that's more so an entrepreneur at this stage of the game than just a entertainer. Speaking of Lil Zane, what have you picked up from him as far as the business aspect, and how has being connected with him or working with him or having a partnership with him helped you as far as with the business in the music industry?
No, I'm really glad you asked that because it was right away, man. We got right to business, got all the paperwork done, got everything done behind the scenes, branding, what I'm saying, pictures, videos. We were making so much music. And the number one thing I'll say is we made so much music right away. It was like just on the grind in the studio nonstop. You feel me? And that's what it was all about. He actually did some artist development with me, helping me start to get some of these songs where they need to be, in the studio, I'm working on my verses. He's like, nah, do it again, starting to work with me like that in the studio, something that you don't see a lot now in the industry as far as artist development and some of that behind the scenes work that, a lot of artists don't get. So I definitely feel blessed and humbled for that opportunity and just the fact that it really just evolved me. It was like instant. The business was right away. You know what I'm saying? We got right to work. You feel me?
Yeah. Artist development is very, very important. And I feel like it's something that is a lost art in music. I feel like a lot of people drop without the, experience that they need, And then I think about Ice Spice when she did, I think it was Rolling Loud in New York, and how she didn't have any voice control. And the reason why she didn't have voice and breath control is because she's a new artist and they just threw her to the wolves. I think that's a bad look for newer artists because they really need artist development because you are a brand at that point. You're not just a singer, rapper. You are a brand. You are your own brand. And you got to be able to carry yourself in the right way. And you got to be able to hone in and control your craft. You need to be as big as the biggest person in your craft when you're doing your craft, or at least strive for that. You know what I mean? And
I
I feel like
definitely agree.
without artist development, that's why we have so many microwavable artists. Because nobody's being developed. Nobody's being developed into who they should be. They're being microwaved out, lukewarm.
I definitely understand what you're saying, bro. And I hear about it a lot, and that's why I brought it up about how there's a little bit less artist development going on nowadays. And what I'll definitely say is you can always do it yourself. You know what I'm saying? You can always, anything you want to do, anything you put your mind to, you can make it happen. You feel me? And it's a whole new wave. There's whole new ways to get yourself on. You know what I'm saying? Going viral is something that was a lot harder to do 5 or 10 years ago compared to what it is now. You know what I mean? You can put yourself out there, really grind, learn these things for yourself and make it happen. You feel me? Garner that interest, you know what I'm saying? Do it independent, and then you'll get yourself in a better situation as well. Because, and that's one of the things we kind of skipped over, kind of going straight into Zane. But the truth is, behind the scenes, I put in countless hours and hours and hours of work by myself in the studio
Yeah.
on my own dime, using my own money, paying for videos, photos, press kits, getting myself out there, going to the clubs, doing shows, saying, developing myself. So, I didn't go in, getting signed, not ready. I was ready already. You feel me? He just got me really, really ready. He got me like stepped up to the next level. You feel me? But that's one thing I will tell artists, definitely be independent right away. Take the accountability for yourself. You feel me? Because that's going to put you in a better situation. And then when you are in those situations where your time comes to shine, your opportunity comes up. When you're ready, that's when you're going to get the opportunity. If you're not ready, that's going to be, detrimental to your opportunity. You feel me? So definitely do everything behind the scenes, do the hard work. You feel me? Be willing to grind, be willing to, spend your own money. Don't think everybody's going to pay for you, because that's just not how it works. You got to, show them that you're willing to invest in yourself. That's financially, emotionally, mentally, physically. It's a lot more than just music. You feel me?
Yeah, and I think that's one of the things is that you don't get to a person like Lil Zane unless you are a hustler, unless you are making the
Exactly.
right moves. So we know off jump that you had somewhat of a buzz before meeting him because you've been doing
Exactly.
you put the work in, and it's obvious because you wouldn't even have had the opportunity. Nobody's going to just tell a nobody to come into the studio with a guy like that. You know what I mean?
Right.
So
Exactly. And I
you
just
know,
want artists to know, and have that, background and history, so they know, this was grind. This is what you got to do. You got to go in there and go for it. You feel me? Believe in yourself. Number one, you got to believe in yourself. You want someone else to believe in you. You want the world to believe in you. You got to believe in yourself. You can see it on my shirt right now, manifest. You know what I'm saying? And
yeah,
it's actually a clothing line that I created with my brother, D Flow. Shout out to D Flow. And this company is all about the positivity, inspiration, motivation, believing in yourself, and manifesting your dreams. You know what I'm saying? And that all starts right here, all mentally. You know what I'm saying?
absolutely, absolutely. And with that said, let's get into the album, man. The album, Boot Camp.
Boot camp.
How many songs? How many records are we looking at?
The boot camp album, man. 31 records, bro. You know what I'm saying? This is a
Woo!
it's a big
It's a body
collection
of
right
work.
here.
It's a
Yeah.
body of work.
For real, man. This is a big collection here, man. This is a culmination of a lot of hard work. Like you were saying, there was a lot of songs for consideration. You feel me? So I definitely wanted to start off with something real strong, but also not too directed. Because the next album is gonna have a very core theme and be very directed and gonna and be very focused. You feel me? This album here, my first album, Boot Camp Deployment, is showing off all the different genres and styles and flows and deliveries that I got to offer. You feel me? Really
Yeah.
just honing in on, just throwing in the full package. You feel me?
When you are putting together an album and you have 31 tracks, how many songs were done completely when you're in the process of picking? Like, how many had you done total before you started picking for the album?
It was probably about 100 songs for consideration. So we
Okay.
were looking at about 100 tracks. These tracks were focused on the boot camp series. So these are this is a series that I previously released. So we were looking at primarily those tracks, and we had a lot of other tracks for consideration. So it was a real big, taking some time listening to some tracks and breaking it down. You feel me?
How long would you say it took you to complete this album?
The album as a whole, with the tracks that were on it, I would say it was about 3 years of hard work in the studio. You feel me? This was a lot of hard work, a lot of determination. You know what I'm saying? One thing I'll say about the studio that people don't realize is it's not just about dropping the tracks. It's all about all the times you went back to the studio and perfected it and rewrote and worked on it, got it mixed and mastered, but that wasn't good enough. So you went and did it again and again and again. And there's just so much behind it that, I definitely appreciate the process and definitely I love the process. To me, that's the fun part. The music, making the music, going back, working on it. It was a lot of good times when it came to that, recording this whole album, definitely.
Okay, okay. Um, favorite record right now off the project that you really feeling.
Off rip motivation. Motivation, man. Hey, that's the record right there that just really hits in a certain way as for me as an artist. It really shows me as an artist and what I represent and the type of values I want to represent, which is, positive, motivational vibes. You know what I'm saying? Just the song itself is called Motivation. So, that kind of speaks for itself. You feel me?
Yeah, yeah. Um, as far as the, I'm gonna try how to word this. As far as the promotion of the project, is there a tour plan behind it? I know you have uh, video visuals coming out. I know you have singles that you're going to be dropping off the project.
You
What
already
does
know.
what does tour life look like?
Yeah, we definitely working behind the scenes trying to make it happen. Hopefully coming to a city near you. You already know, man.
Please believe it, please.
Hey, yes,
um,
sir.
features on the album.
Features. We actually have 7 features with Lil Zane on this album. So this is, definitely a big collection of songs that we worked on together on this album as well. Also, my brother's feature, D Flow. Big shout out to D Flow and some other really, really talented artists and singers on that album. Definitely got to check it out.
Okay, how many producers are you working with on this project?
There's
Well, you working with?
probably there was probably about 15 different producers on this album. Work with a lot of different producers. I still work with a lot of different producers. I love working with different producers, different sounds, different genres. It's definitely something I enjoy. Just tapping into different sounds. Definitely a lot of different producers on this album. Big shout out to all of them. They all did a lot of hard work behind the scenes. Appreciate y'all 100.
Yeah, yeah. A lot of times people really don't understand how important a producer is, to a track. How
Big
important
time important.
and how important he is to the artist as well. Because
100.
if you think about it, that's a body of work being created together versus, what I mean,
It's
one
a
writing the lyrics.
collaboration,
Yeah,
100%.
collaboration. Absolutely,
A
absolutely.
lot of
Um,
producers, I work with them in the studio and we'll start from scratch. I mean, I'm talking about no sounds. You feel me? And we'll customize the beat all the way from the beginning and just really working with them in the studio musically with my musical background, like I was saying, just kind of trying to, give them some ideas, give them some concepts. That's my favorite way to work with a producer. I didn't work with every producer like that. I would have loved to, but man, that's definitely my favorite way to work with a producer.
okay, and we'll make sure that we put the Spotify, Apple Music, and the title links in the description of this video when it releases. Um,
Appreciate you. Appreciate you for real.
definitely got to take care of that. Top five favorite artists and why?
Yeah, man. I mean, it goes right back to my top four off rip. What I'm saying? You definitely got Tupac, Bone Thugs, Twista, and Eminem. If I was gonna add one more artist to that list, it would be really hard because I love so many artists. And I'm a big fan of music. I didn't say that yet, man. I love all music, all genres. There is no genre that I could say I dislike personally. Some people be like, oh, I hate this genre. Nah, for me, I like all music. You feel me? Even classical, blues, jazz, all that. You feel me? But probably one more artist to the list, it would probably be Lil Wayne. I love Lil Wayne, you feel me? But I wouldn't say he influenced me as an artist. I just love his music, you feel me?
Yeah, he just got good music.
For real.
What's the single that you're pushing right now off the project?
The number one single off the project is the number one track on the project, Come Get Me. That's definitely a single that, saying I want to highlight on this album. I would say the top 5 tracks on the album I would want to highlight that's Come Get Me, Swag on a Mill, Motivation, My Baby, and Free Your Mind. So those are 5 tracks that are really highlighted at the top of the album. Definitely some tracks I'm going to be focusing on here in the next quarter.
Okay. If you was to do a remix to Motivation, and you can have any rapper or pop singer on the record, who would you pick to put on that record, and why would you pick them? What do you know? What do you feel that they would bring different to the record?
I would say, for motivation, I would love to have Bone Thugs and Harmony on that record, man. Hey, you know what I'm
Yeah,
saying? Because me personally, I like to mix harmonies and melodies with my music, you know what I'm saying? In a very different way than Bone Thugs and Harmony. So for them to come on that record, bro, and bring their flavor, oh man. That would be crazy, bro. You know what I'm saying? Just mixing them together. I've actually remixed the Bone Thugs and Harmony track before, Everything 100. And man, I would have loved to hear that track, you know what I'm saying, as a feature with them or, have them as a feature on my track, man. I would definitely vibe with that 100.
yeah, I think that'd be a game changer. That would definitely be a game
Big
changer.
time.
Um, And lastly, couple last questions I have for you before I let you get up out of here. I try to keep my interviews anywhere from 30 to 45 minutes, and we're right at the 26-minute mark.
Yes,
What
sir.
other business ventures do you have outside of music? Because a lot of times artists they be so focused, which is a great thing, but music sometimes isn't the end all be all in today's society. So, what other business ventures outside of music do you have going on? If you don't
Yeah,
mind me
and no, I don't mind you asking. I'm glad you asked because I want artists to hear this because in 2022, 2023, content is king. So I would definitely say a content in itself on all platforms is one of my businesses in itself. So what I'm saying, producing content, video content, this is very important. It's something that's got to be done if you really want to make an impact. Number two, we created the business Manifest, and like I was telling you, super inspirational business. So it's a clothing line. Also, we're making content as well to go along with that. On the motivational side, I'm doing some motivational speeches, kind of tapping into a different market with the motivational speeches, coming at it with a little bit of a different angle from the streets. You know what I'm saying? Trying to,
now.
give that, positive vibes, really to anybody, but with our own, we're being ourselves at the end of the day. So that's just who we are. You feel me? So that's part of it. I would say you're right 100%, man. Get on your business tip. Anything that you feel like you are passionate about and you can bring to the table, saying get behind it, create something that you can, stand behind 100% in addition to your music. You feel me?
Yeah, I was talking to an independent artist the other day, and I was telling him um, he should think about vlogging because he couldn't figure out what he wanted to do outside of with the music. So I was like, listen, if you open up a YouTube channel and you vlog the process of you creating these projects and these albums, now you've created a window for people to look through, look back on, right?
Mm-hmm.
That window will accumulate views, which then accumulates money. So now you're making money off your past efforts,
You
residual
got it.
income, and you're building a fan base inside of a platform that is massive. So now when you release a record, you got an extra push to get yourself on Spotify playlists and editorial playlists and stuff like that because you already have a boom coming because you built it through a social media network and you built it through people letting people know who you are as a person because a lot of times a lot of artists want to go off the mystique but the Prince and Michael Jackson mystique era is gone. People want to know who. Oh, we lose them.
Oh, my bad. Oh, I'm with you. My bad.
Um, they want to know about you. They don't. There's no mystery because everything is on the internet. You can't. Everybody has a phone. Everybody's taping. So you got to let people in. You got to let people know what is it that you like. What is it? What type of coffee you drink in the morning? What type of tea you drink in the morning? What type of yoga lessons are you into? These are the intricate things that people can learn and like about you. So where every time you drop a record, they on it and they supporting it, not because you're a music artist, but because they respect you as a
Exactly,
person.
bro.
You know what I mean?
That's 100. Content is definitely king. I would definitely say that you're giving them the right advice. Make some content about your music, get behind the scenes, show them what you're doing. That's epic content for your fans. They definitely want to see that.
Yeah, yeah. So before I let you go, and I close this thing out, let the people know where they can connect with you at. Let the people know your social medias. Let them know where they can go buy the project at, and let them know what they need to know about you.
Hey man, for real. Hey, first and foremost, man, big shout out to you. I appreciate you having me on, man. You can find me everywhere at Soulja P Music. So that's Twitter, Instagram, YouTube, you know what I'm saying, Facebook, everywhere at Soulja P Music. Hey, I really appreciate y'all checking me out, man. Check me out on the Boot Camp Deployment, Spotify, Apple Music, Tidal, streaming everywhere, man. You know, you can check me out on YouTube. I'm doing some behind the scenes. I'm doing some music tips for young artists. You know, I got a little series I'm doing on the shorts, trying to, you know, speak some game to the young artists and just promoting the album overall. So you can check me out on YouTube as well.
Okay, great, 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 man. Well, listen, it's been an honor working with you. It's been an honor knowing you, um, and I really, really am inspired to see the things that you're doing and how you're doing them, and then how you're becoming, in my eyes, more of an entrepreneur than just an entertainer. And that's at the end of the day where you want to be when you look at people like Dr. Dre, Ice Cube. They became entrepreneurs from entertainers, and I see you doing the same thing, bro. I see you doing the
Hey,
same.
nothing but, you know what I'm saying, love, man. I really appreciate that, bro. You know what I'm saying? It's been an honor working with you too, bro. And you're right, bro. You know what I'm saying? It's been a transformation. It's been a lot over the years. You know, there's going to be a lot behind the story coming out, kind of showing that transformation and what's behind it. You know what I'm saying? I'm not going to give away too much because the next album is going to be all about that. But definitely, man, you know what I'm saying? I appreciate you noticing that and showing love, bro, and bringing me on the show, man. It's been an honor for real.
You're welcome anytime. Guys, as you see up here in the corner, this is the album cover. This is the album cover, so you guys know what it looks like. Go support. I will have all of the information for you to stream it inside of the description. Uh, Soulja P, I'm going to let you go. Thank
Hey,
you for giving me your time. I really appreciate it. We'll talk. Maybe we could get back and do this again. I got some ideas that I want to run past you that we can probably do. Maybe come have you come and host one of my other live streams or something like that. Come
yeah.
host. Maybe when I come down into Florida, we could go somewhere and do a food review because I do celebrity news, YouTube news, and food reviews, and I'm really, really getting serious about the food reviews because I just got myself a new camera, so I'm really, really
Nice.
focused on that. And everybody like to eat,
Hey,
right?
for real. Hey, you know what I'm saying? Definitely would love to collab with you again, man. Let's make it happen.
All right, man. Well, with that said, I am going to end this interview. Have a wonderful day. Do your thing. I appreciate you. Holla if you can't, then don't bother. Ha ha.
Hey, appreciate you, man. Have a good one, bro.